Hi, welcome to part 3 of the packaging investigation. So hopefully we understand surface developments, what they are, how they work, and we've had a look at different features, how they're used, and how they're working both visually and functionally, to open, close things and make things look good. Today's job, I'm just going to have a quick look at complexity. So what the challenge is to find the most complex package. Please don't flat pack down anything that you can't rebuild. Please don't use anything that's still trying to contain something. But I've got a couple here. So this one I've identified. I don't think it's the most complex surface development in the house, but what makes it interesting that I want to see is about this taper. So it's obviously wider at the bottom than at the top, and it is on the side as well. So I'm interested in that. It also has had quite a sort of strange curved lid effect. So as I close that, these have a kind of perforated fold in here. I think you can see that. And the reason for that is because obviously it's wider here than it is higher up because it's still in this taper. So that's kind of interesting to me how that's been designed and how it's folding together. So yeah, I just want you to have a look at the most complex shapes you can find. Again, it's got a little overlapping tab here, but that is also made on a radius, and so it's hooking together like that. And then because this is used, I ate my Easter chocolates, but this probably originally would have sat up quite close on top of there and kept it closed. And the window event on the corner I'm interested in. So I'm just going to flat pack that one and investigate what that's like. I think that's one of the more complex developments, although the bottom is glued, not folded, which makes it a bit simpler in terms of joinery. So we've got that, and again there'll just be one corner where it's held together. So we'll have a look at how it's helpful not to rip them, then they're a true surface development if you've got them open in one piece. But this one, I think I'll be able to hold it far enough away that you can see it's actually not lying like flat. If I got a ruler and held that ruler across the top of one of these, you would see that it's sitting in a curve. So that's how that's made, because all of these, the taper is done. You almost could think of these as individual sides or individual planes, and then as they're glued together with that taper at the top, they cause a rotation. So this one folded down, and it would be pretty handy if I could tilt the camera a bit. I don't know if you're going to pick up everything about that development, but yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what they've done with adding a perforation here to help the beer bend, and that the curve has come in here, and then the tab has actually had to be flat. So if you open out and rebuild, again the cutaway looks fairly simple, but the cutaway operates on a fold. This would be a cool one to redraw and try to rebuild. Getting more complex then, this one's actually producing a really simple box. However, it's got quite a few features because there's options of what I do with this box. So it's got a couple of cutaways, and those cutaways are to help me lift, and there's a perforation in here, and a little tab in there, and I can rip the top of this box, so it's perforated on the angle across there and up there and across the top. Now I can leave it also open, because if we undid this little label, what you can see is down there is also a lid that can open like this. So basically this one's designed for two purposes. I can have as a private person open and close get my one sachet out of there, or I could be a shop and I might decide that I want to perforate, and this is then a display unit. Okay, so I'd be quite interested to see this. Also has a bit of a new, where's the light? bit of a interesting fold along the bottom there. So there's a glue line here, but not and a corresponding one opposite it, and then there's a folding system going on with some perforations to help things bend rather than perforations that we break, just to sort of ease the position that you want. So that could be quite complex to make a simple thing that does has some interesting features, but this wins the challenge for me. This, I think, is my most complex surface development. So if I were to open out this box, obviously it's got a cutaway in the top, it's got a cutaway on this corner on 2 planes and one on the opposite diagonal. It folds, but not just once in the middle, it's going to fold down there. And as it folds, it's got a double fold that's built for security, so it hasn't just got a top coming in from the side with only one tab. It's got a double and 2 doubles that go into the middle, and so obviously there's these slots for that to go back together. And then it's integrated with a second piece, so whilst this is all one surface development, this is actually probably a second one that wouldn't be on the same flat pack. Don't believe that's the same piece of cardboard. Have a look. Open this one out. The video is getting a little bit long for you, so I was wrong. So that is that central piece that came up in there. In there was all one piece. You can see it coming out here. So the only thing that I won't do, I probably want to rebuild this box for storage, is what I won't do is I won't break out that final gluing point that you can see just in there here and have the full surface development, but that would be a fascinating one. So the challenge is find your most complex container. If it's no longer needed for its job, or you're confident you can rebuild it, then open it out, have a look how complex surface developments can get.